I had a question. I was wondering that, let me try and remember it. I should have, maybe I need to start writing. So I'll speak divine memory every other time. I was thinking about how we are in the Merkaba, and it's this, maybe you can speak to us today again about how you having, when we die, when Jesus died, Jesus went with his body, right? And I saw somewhere that they were saying that when you die, you must ensure that you die and you go with your Merkaba, because when you still maintain your Merkaba, it means that when you're going, you go with your body. Otherwise, when you get to the other density, then you're not able to enter with your body, and that's why, or with your reincarnated body, and that's why you find people, no, with your body, that's why you find that people have to come back, because if you didn't do the work while you are in the density that we are in, or in the time, in this dispensation that we are in, if we don't do the work, then that makes us not to transcend to the next dimension. So I was saying, maybe you can speak to us about one, how we create the Merkaba. Two, how do we ensure that when we are dying, that now, I think it's either at the place of consciousness. I don't know whether I'm making sense, even what I'm asking, but I'll just ask, as silly as it might be.
Yeah, you are making a lot of sense. You are making a ton of sense. Don't worry. Ask. Continue.
Yeah, so that then, um it's like, I thought, like, when I thought, like, we say that Christ came in the form of a man, and that there was really nothing, peculiar about him, but he had the spirit, the spirit of Christ, because I know that, well, the way I knew it was that he was the anointed. There was Christ the man, and then there was Christ the anointed. The anointed would mean the spirit, the one that was endowed of the spirit. And so, because he was endowed of the spirit, when the spirit came upon him, or when there was now the consciousness of flowing and moving in the spirit, then I believe that Christ then, when he was saying that the works that he did, we can do also, and we will do greater works than that, also showed an aspect of now us guys growing and getting more and more endowed in the spirit as we become more conscious, and as we become more self-aware of the I am in us, then we can do greater works. So when he died, I've been thinking, so him, who was a man, and we know that he was a man because we saw him dying, or rather, they saw him being crucified, being beaten. He was lashed, uh, the being whipped, the nails and everything. But then when they went to the tomb, they didn't find his body. If anything, they found his clothes that he had worn at the point of crucifixion. So I was wondering, does that have to do anything to do with the Merkaba? And if it has anything to do with the Merkaba, does that mean then that uh when I think, for me, that's where the disconnect is. Are we able, because I heard that guy say that we should be able to work in such a way that when you're going, you're able to go with your body and not necessarily leave it here. So I would love to hear a comment on the same.
Thank you. Actually, this subject of Merkaba, it is a very broad and wide subject, but at the same time, it is just the easiest or the simplest aspect. Because as I always say, God is simplicity. This is what a Merkaba is in a geometrical pattern. It's like two pyramids. Check two pyramids. One facing down, one facing up, facing each other. Then these two pyramids becoming together, rotating at opposite directions, whereby it forms a geometry which is a geometry of balance.
Hi, Salim. I can't hear you from my end, kindly.
We all can't hear him.
I think it's all of us. Every time when he's busy downloading something heavy, internet misbehaves.
Can you hear me? I got disconnected, but I am back. Can you hear me, guys? Sheila, can you hear me? Can anyone
Yes,
hear me?
I can
yes,
hear you.
yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
hear you
okay,
loud and
okay.
clear.
So this the aspect of a Merkaba, that pyramid which is down, which is facing up, it represents of the earthly. That pyramid which faces down from up, it represents of the spiritual. So it comes to the base point, that base point of balance. When you get balanced, when you balance the feminine and the masculine, when you balance the light, you bring light and darkness into balance, you already have them. You have already created them. When you become into balance, you have created a Merkaba. It is not something which can be. And this is the mistake which people make, even in spirituality. This is what they do. This is what people do. They have procedures. They have procedures. Even spiritual teachers are teaching how to visualize and creating the Merkaba. It cannot be created by the intellectual mind. It needs one to get balanced, work upon themselves, eliminate what do not serve them. They have to bring everything into balance. And the same thing, and this is the same aspect we were speaking last time when we were talking about on that topic of marriage. Marriage being that marriage not being because of any other party. Like you're marrying them, the marriage is about her or about him. There is this ceremony which I told you guys last time, which is I think a Swedish marriage ceremony, when where the husband and the wife, they come stand together, and then a candle is lighted. Then they, with their two hands, one left hand and the other one right hand, they are holding on that candle, which symbolizes that marriage, who is to submit to who, or who is it all about between you two? It's not about that. Who is to be submitted to? that candle, meaning the light. So marriage is because of merging back together into balance of the feminine and the masculine aspect, because the aspect is that the first man who was created was hermaphrodite. He was both genders. He was both genders, the original man, in perfection. In perfection. When he was split, the perfection was not there. So the feminine and the masculine, they dwelt together. Therefore, they have to be, when the union is brought back, the divine union. Forget about marriages. Last time I said, even dogs can be married, even companies do marry. Divine union, bringing into oneness and into one accord, balance of the feminine and the masculine. Light and darkness, one is feminine, one is masculine. Good and evil, one is feminine, one is masculine. The Merkaba, things of physicality, the lowest chakras, bringing them into balance at your heart center, your top chakra. Top chakras all coming together into one, 7 into 1, into balance. When you work upon yourself to balance yourself, you create the Merkaba. The Merkaba is that one. Actually, the Merkaba is, I think, is an Hebrew word, Merkaba, which means chariot of light, the one which Elijah used. And many people do not know one thing. Many people do not know one thing. They're just not understanding their scriptures. Elijah ascended with you on the chariot of light, which was the Merkaba. And Elijah is the one who brought his Merkaba to Jesus. When immediately Jesus was baptized by John the Baptist. They tell you the Spirit of God came. The Spirit of God was, because it's the one that was with God, that was God. Holy Spirit was with God and was God and is God. When John the Baptist baptized Jesus, they say it's the Holy Spirit. It is not. It is the Merkaba came to him from Elijah. That's why Jesus told them, verily, 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 I say unto you, this is the Elijah who was supposed to come. You can never ascend without the Merkaba. It is simple. It is simple. Very simple. Anyone who is not balanced, they are not in contact or in tune with their Merkaba. Therefore, if you are living not in a balanced life, you don't have a Merkaba. If you are not you are living in separation, you are not in the Merkaba, people. God sees everything as God. It sees light and darkness as itself, of itself, and godly. Christ sees everything as Christ. It's not biased. Then it takes us back again, gratitude. When you have the gratitude to everything, you have realized that everything is one, everything is God. When there is a negative, something negative happens to you, you have worked upon yourself, you are balanced. When something negative happens to you, you do not fall into fear. You do not worry no more. What you do is just, you know that this is darkness, but behind it, behind this darkness, there is love. Because in the beginning, there was love. Then light and darkness came from love. So behind, you know that behind this negative person, behind this negative situation, there is love. I claim the divine in this. I claim the divine in this, and the divine rises and exalts itself. And God rises, and you experience God big time in a negative situation. Balanced life. Immediately a situation breaks you down at first sight, you are not balanced. You have denied that. The reason why that situation is breaking you down and you feel the core to the core of it is that immediately there is a situation and you deny that this is not of God. It's not godly. You start to praying to God. Start rebuking things which do not exist. Immediately you do that. First of all, you give it a negative identity. You have put a separation fence. What you have separated from, you have denied. One thing you have to know, what you always deny, what we always deny, they have not denied us. They claim the God in us. Therefore, there are two strings. One string, right hand, we are attached to that because it's claiming us. Then left hand is ours. We separate with that. Then whatever you deny, this is what happens. Whatever you deny, you have put into the hole of darkness. So that situation which you have, immediately you deny that situation, not acknowledging God in that and claiming God in that. Immediately deny that, you have separated from that and you have put that into the hole of darkness. And because it has not denied you, it pulls you there to that deeper, and you feel and experience the fullness of the darkness of that thing which you have put into that hole of darkness. Anything you put in it, I always say everything is always presented to us at a neutral state. But anything, that's why it said anything can be used for the good or for the bad. Anything, you deny it, you have put it in the deepest hole of darkness. Therefore, when it is obvious it has not denied you, it pulls you there so that you experience that deepest darkness you have put into it. You experience the identity you have given to that. the judgment you have given to that situation, the identity you have given to that, and you throw it in the darkness, that identity takes that deeper darkness and you get to experience it big time. You fall down. It breaks you to the core. You seek God and God seems like he is hiding, playing hide and seek with you, but it's not. That is what balance is. That is what balance is. And we do not know this. We are denying everything. Immediately God is separated, he ceases to be God to you. People, take this very seriously. Immediately you separate God, he ceases to be God. Because God cannot be separated. That which is separated is not God. Immediately you deny something. When, as I initially said, every situation outside of us is brought at or any negative person, they are brought to our lives at a neutral state. Everything is presented to us as a neutral state. When you are told that ye are gods, you are gods in training. Therefore, you are not given things which have final definition. You are given things, you are given clay. So you decide to make pots, pans, or toys out of them. What we are given is clay, so that you learn this thing of creation. So every situation is presented to you at a neutral state. But immediately you fall into physicality, into flesh, into the physical mind. You know, one thing, last time I said, when the Adam and Eve were told, of all the tree you shall partake, but of the tree of knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat out of it. And that day you partake of it, you shall surely die. The tree of knowing good and evil is the physical mind. The physical mind is that which tells you this is good, this is bad. It is that which judges. You shall surely die. If you give it precedence, you shall surely die. Because it's the one that judgeth. Do not judge, because by the same measure you shall be judged. By the same measure. And that is the work of the physical mind. Because the higher mind, or the Christ within, is not biased. It sees everything as itself. Therefore, the spiritual mind and the physical mind should come into one accord, one agreement, into resonance. That is balance. Yes, I got disconnected. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
So I was saying that transformation comes from the renewal of the mind. Last time I talked about the parable of Jesus washing his disciples' feet. It was just about cleaning this mind, cleaning our understanding. When he washed his disciples' feet, when you stand, first of all, what is under you is your feet. Understanding. When you stand, what is under you is your feet. Understanding. That's why Jesus was washing his disciples' feet. And he said, this is what he said. People should continue doing that. Renewal of the mind. Washing our understanding. Sing, when thy eye be made single, your whole body shall be filled with light. That is your Merkabah body. That single eye is your Merkabah body. It is that single eye that sees that everything is God. It sees one thing, nothing else. It sees one thing. If thy eye be made single, be one, that sees one, knows one, that sees everything as God and of God and as godly, your body shall be filled with light. You shall have a light body. A light body is what a Merkabah is. The eye that sees one thing, that sees love. It sees love only, because love is only what exists in the universe. Only love. I tell people, only love exists in the universe. Nothing else. No matter how the world seems, how crazy it seems, only love exists. Because even to bring chaos, to bring wars, to embrace darkness, to embrace evil, Satan, demons, and this and that, to embrace the negative, one must have the love of the negative. To embrace the light and the good, one must have the love of light and the good. Therefore, only one thing exists, meaning that everything is God. Everything should come into one accord, that accord of love. That which is in accord with love. And this love is that which from love came light and darkness. Therefore, that love sees light and darkness as itself. God sees everything within him as himself, of himself. I said this, and I will remind you guys, there is nothing ungodly in this universe. Does not need your belief. This one does not need your belief, because either you believe it or not, it is what it is. There is nothing ungodly in this universe. Everything is within God. Nothing exists outside of God. God himself knows not. God himself knows not of anything existing outside of himself and apart from himself. Who are you to say this one is ungodly? Is there anything outside of God and separate from God that does not come from God? This is the balance which will bring to you guys the Merkabah. It does not take any dramas. Face this, meditate this, visualize this bullshit. I told you, God is in plain sight. The reason why we are not experiencing God is because we are putting systems to God. We are putting systems to God. When you just be and know, that is God, that everything is God. You won't need to pray a single prayer. You don't need even to call upon God, because when everything to you is God, you experience God out of everything. The love that sees that everything is itself. It sees light and darkness as itself. When you do that, you have become godlike. To know God, to identify a God, it takes a God, not someone practicing a God. My friend, when you practice God, when you practice God, you are not God. You are practicing still. You are not God. I said it takes a God to know a God. It takes one God to identify another, unless you become like God. This is what God is. The Bible says, God, if immediately go to God and like you are asking for, you are repenting, you are repenting to God. Trust me, God already forgot. God already forgot that one. God forgets. He doesn't keep grudges. He forgets. He forgets. He forgives and forgets. Forgiveness is what forgetting is. You know, little children, this is what they do. The little children, you do something to them, you punish them, they cry. Your babies, you carry them, they are disturbing you, hit them, they cry, then the next minute, they are laughing with you. They have forgotten. They have already forgotten that is what forgiveness is. And they don't remember. Let me tell you one thing. Children do not remember. And not unless we become like the little children, we shall not even see the kingdom passing by. Not unless. Children, you are crawling babies. You are crawling babies. Let me tell you. The reason why they will be able, a snake will come and it will never hurt a child. Your crawling baby or an animal, even a wild animal, will never hurt a baby. Do you know what? Do you know why? It's not that babies are angels. No. Babies see everything as God. Babies see everything as God. Therefore, they experience the God out of everything. A snake will come there, they will be playing with the baby. The wild animal will come there, it will be playing with the baby. They will experience God, the divine, that which they see. What you observe, people, anything, immediately you are looking at something, you are fluctuating the energies of that. It takes a God to identify a God. It takes a thief to identify a thief. It's not a hearsay, it's a true story. The reason why little children, your babies, when they finish crying, they come to you back, they have forgotten what happened, and now they are again laughing at you, with you. Do you know why? It's because the same principle of God, they are using that. Behold, I make all things new. To them, they see everything as new. Immediately you, after hitting the baby, it comes back and laughing at you. It's because it has seen you as new. It views you, observes you like it is seeing you for the first time. This is what I've been telling you, people. Approach everything like it's new. Everything like it's for the first time. You are seeing that. Everything. When you approach everything to be as new every moment. When you approach everything as to be new every time. You have asked. You actually, when you approach everything to be new, is you have called forth for everything to be a new experience. When everything is new, let me tell you one thing. When every moment your own husband, your own wife, you see them as new every moment. Let me tell you, every moment is like you are seeing them for the first time. Every moment, when they go to the bottom, when they come out, it's like that first day you are falling in love with them. Every moment you view your spouse as new, it's like every moment becomes the first day when you guys fell in love. Like the first day. When you see everything as can you hear me? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
I got disconnected a bit. Yes. I was saying when you even those negative relatives, negative friends, and group of cycle of people and this and that, when you every moment you see them like it's the first time you are seeing them. When you walk with this knowing, people, when you walk with this knowing that every moment to you, everything is new. You no longer struggle with unforgiveness and hatred because you have no one to forgive. You have no one to hate. Everyone to you is new. You are meeting them for the first time. This is what little children are. And not unless we become like the little ones, shall never see the kingdom of God. We are not called to be childish. We are told to be childlike. Childish is something else. Childish is acting stupid. But childlike is acting divine and godly. This is what brings balance within you. This is what brings you that light, that which you call the light body. It comes automatically. Sheila, I'm telling you, there are people who are not in spiritual work, who are not in religion, who are not in this bullshit of organizations of seeking God, and their energy bodies, their Merkaba, are already activated. I told you, God has got no systems. Last time I said, immediately you give God a name, it's a system. Immediately you give God a name, it is a system. Immediately you say God is nameless, it is also a system, because God is above having a name and being nameless. Even that which he is above that. Do not perceive God in a monkey style. Do not lock God in a box, people. It is the greatest mistake. Locking God in a box. That small box, you lock God. Then you have yourself, you have to enter in that small box and seek that God. People, don't lock God in a box. God, last time I said, God is a mystery. To what we call as angels. Most highest angels, even Jesus himself. Trust me on this. God, to him, God is a mystery. God is a mystery. He has no system. He can only be experienced and expressed. Because man is God expressing himself through man as himself. You are God expressing himself through you as himself. That's why where you project your energy, it goes. You want to be of darkness, evil, you be that big time. God supports that. When you want to be a good person, God supports that. That's why there are people who did craziest atrocities in this planet. God supports that. You are God expressing himself through you as himself. Why does he support that? Because he is not biased. He sees everything as itself. God knows of nothing existing outside of himself. He knows everything is within me, is mine. That's why where you project God is where God goes. Ye are God's people. Negative situations are brought to you at a neutral state. They never take form and shape until you give them judgment and give them an identity, a name. Immediately you give them an identity and a name, you have fulfilled the law of separation. They become that. Nothing becomes that until you declare it to be that. All what you are given is clay, people. You are not giving pots here. Then you say, no, what has been presented to me is a pot. I don't want a pot. I wanted to mold a pan. No, you are given clay for you to pot. Mold what you want. But because you fall into physicality, the physical mind, that which we were warned that day you partake of this, you shall surely die. That is where we have taken refuge. And it is that one that judgeth. We judge with our physical mind because the physical mind knows good and bad, but the higher mind, the mind of Christ, knows everything as itself. Transformation comes from the renewal of the mind. And that transformation is what the energy body is. This game does not need drama, people. This game of seeking God does not involve drama. Immediately you walk with the knowing that everything is God. People, just hold one ear when I'm telling you this. Immediately you walk with the knowing that everything is God. You will experience God even in your sanitary pads, even in a bottle of beer. If you want to be a mystic, that's what I'm telling you. You will experience an angel from the greatest demon. Those demons which come and hijack your body, trust me. They come and hijack your body. Then you experience sleep paralysis. Let me tell you, when you walk with the knowing that everything is God, let me tell you, immediately it comes there, you experience bliss. It does what it does, thinking that it is affecting you with what it does, not knowing that you have claimed that is that which is behind that, and it has risen. and overshadows that, so that you get to experience that which rises. This game does not need drama. I'm telling you, the reason why we are not experiencing God is because we have put systems on God. God has got no systems completely. It only takes one thing, just to be. Period. No dramas, nothing, just to be. Don't call upon the Christ within you. You just have to be. Disconnect all identities of the physical. That I'm wearing clothes, I'm this, I am an African, I am this religion, I have this car, I have this house, I have this wife, I have this, disconnect from everything and just be. See what happens. You want to experience God? Disconnect. This is a simple experiment. Disconnect from any identity, even of your mind, and just be. Even when your mind start poking you with thoughts and this and that, be a spectator. This is the work of the mind, and this is how people defeat the mind. When you are in meditation, and always in meditation, what brings confusion is always the physical mind, because thoughts will start coming. Now, when the funniest thing is that when you go into meditation, the mind brings you those things which you are harboring. If it is fear, now all the debts come. You start thinking, end month is near, how am I going to pay this bill? I have issues with this. All the garbage you harbor within you, they will always rise up when you are in meditation. Those are your garbage. Do not blame the mind. That moment, actually, your mind, and this is what happens when you still your body and you still your body and your thoughts. This is what happens. Your emotions, because you are trying to connect with God. You have to know this, the God within. Now your emotions, the heart is starting to be filled with light. When you are just immediately you have a thought, I'm going to meditation, your heart is already starting filling with light. Therefore, when you go to meditation, all emotions, all emotions are harbored in the heart. As the heart is starting to be filled with light, these emotions start to vacate and they come outside now, like coming out through, like in the flesh, they're somewhere there. Now you get to experience that. Now those emotions come, those negative emotions which you are harboring, they come. Let me tell you, if you are walking with anger, there is something of anger will come from nowhere when you are just going into the meditative state. So, number one, I said, to get balance, work upon yourself. Number two, in meditation, the physical mind always picks your emotions and reminds you of, hey, this emotion is about this story. Don't forget, there's that emotion number 3 there. It's about that story of tomorrow. The guy wants his money. Then it hijacks you. It takes control over you. And now you start exploding that. You start now wondering about that, worrying about that, creating more fear about that, and you become too emotional in that meditative state. Too emotional. And the higher mind